President Trump says that next year's G20 Summit will be held at his golf resort in Doral, Florida. The president made that announcement after signing an executive order that would start the process of renaming the Department of Defense to the Department of War. But in order to officially make that change, the president will need Congress to step in. Let's bring in CBS News White House reporter Aaron Navarro. Aaron, thanks so much for joining us tonight. A big change possibly on the books here. What does that announcement mean, though, if Congress doesn't take the steps to actually pass legislation on it?
Yeah, that executive order directs Secretary Hegseth to work with Congress about it, though President Trump in the Oval said they are also looking at other ways that they can do it using the powers of the executive branch. But what this does is essentially makes it a second title for this department, making it the Department of War. Secretary Hegseth can now refer to himself as the Secretary of War. There are already images of any kind of insignia in the Pentagon that mentions defense being changed to be war instead. You're seeing their social media handles change as well. And in regards to legislation, because as you mentioned, it is up to Congress to officially change the name. We saw earlier this week two allies of the president in Congress, Republican Senator Mike Lee of Utah, Congressman Greg Steube from Florida, have already introduced legislation to officially change the name of the department. We will see if the political appetite is there to get that done in Congress.
Yeah, they're moving fast, though, in the meantime, Aaron. What is the president saying, though, about what is behind his decision to make this change?
Yeah, interesting comments from him and the secretary there. They say that since it changed from the Department of War to the Department of Defense in the 1940s, that the U.S. has not won any major war. They pointed to Vietnam, what we saw in the 2000s in Afghanistan and Iraq. And Secretary Hegseth went on to note that that's not to degrade the soldiers that fought in them, but just to say that the U.S. and specifically this branch of or the military needs to adjust its brand, that it needs to be more aggressive. President Trump said that he did not want it to be, quote, politically correct or wokey. He said, quote, this is about winning. And I think it's notable that that comment was made as the U.S. was sending fighter jets to Puerto Rico to increase its military footprint in the Caribbean. And when talking about Venezuela and asked about those aircraft that flew over the U.S. Navy ship, asked if what would happen if they do it again, President Trump suggested that they could be shot down. So a new approach, perhaps, from this Department of War.
Plenty of changes all around. Aaron Navarro, thanks so much for joining us tonight.